Hey everyone, welcome to Wicky's round two punting preview. So we're going to strip this out onto a video for YouTube and audio for podcasts on Anchor, where you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever else you want. Just a quick reminder to everyone, obviously we've started doing a lot more content for the 2023 season. It's round two now. We're getting used to it. We've had some tech issues because the bloody Dolphins come into the competition, but they've made it worth it. What a win first up against the Roosters. So for the video and the audio, guys, it's probably going to come out Thursday, Arvo Sydney time. And we're going to have the Punters preview article come out. I think we're going to aim for both of them around 4 or 5 p.m. Sydney time on Thursday, the 9th of March. If you're listening to this, from next week we'll be a lot more streamlined. We're going to put out a schedule on Tuesday next week before round three, and everything will follow that schedule. We've just a little bit struggling with our processes because of the Dolphins, but we'll get straight into it, guys. What I thought we'd do for this video is we'll go into a really quick recap of round one. I did say the first month or so of the seasons sorry. I'm going to keep the plays to a minimum, just as we sort of get used to how teams are playing, forward pack rotations, and just a whole bunch of other stuff. I think it's always sort of better to play it safe in the first month or so, see how the first 3, 4, 5 rounds play out. But there's a ton of value, and to be honest, if I followed my gut and gone harder on the first round, we probably would have had a couple more wins, which is kind of unfortunate. But we'll see how round two goes. But as I said, let's start the video with recapping round one. So just very quickly, there you go. Cool. So round one, Punters preview article. If you look here, so Eels and Storm, just really quickly recapping our plays. No wins here, but yeah, Dylan Brown, I really liked him at $34. I remember Jerome Hughes, I think Nas did get over and he was really close to the line a couple of times. One was taken away and one, well, he didn't get there, but he was close. Warriors and Knights, Lockie Fitzgibbon. When I say I should have followed my gut, I absolutely loved him as a play. That play did win. Anytime try score at $6 odds, he crashed over in the first or the second minute of the game. I did also like the first try score odds. I think it was $41 or maybe it was 34. And if it was 41, I would have put it in. But anyways, I'll definitely be looking out for Lockie Fitz. Cleary didn't get up. Panthers lost in a surprise to the Broncos. Ended up being a wet game. But yeah, if we find that price again for Cleary, I'll definitely like that. Seagulls, Bulldogs, this game ended up going quite differently to, I guess, what I thought and probably what a lot of people thought, given the hype on the Bulldogs. Manly dominated. I think it was 31-6 in the end. Can't believe Hamole didn't score given the result, and DCE scored a bloody hat-trick, but really like that. Burton and kick out didn't have the best games, unfortunately, but we'll still have a look out for them as the left edge of the Dogs gets their chemistry up throughout the season. Cowboys, Raiders. Cowboys unfortunately dominated the first sort of 30 minutes or so of the game. So Tapine and Fogarty didn't really have a shot. I don't believe it. I was driving as the first half was happening, so I was listening to it. I don't think they had a first shot at the first or second try there. Tapine was on the field when it was a really close game from memory at the end, but regardless, didn't get up. Sharks and Raiders, Katoa got up, should have actually scored 2. So I did really like the play. I think it was our model's favorite or second favorite play of the week last week. That got up. Our model, I think, loves him again this week and he's been priced really well. So watch out for that. ULA played really well, but unfortunately didn't score the first try. I don't think he had a shot early on in the game, but as I said, played really well throughout the game. Dolphins and the Roosters. This was really interesting. So another reason to make sure you join our Discord. We were chatting about this on Sunday, sort of like around lunchtime as the footy show was on actually. And yeah, Herman SS8, he was ruled out, but funnily enough, Connolly Lemuelu, I think is how you pronounce his name. He came on to the bench for the Dolphins and ended up scoring the first try of the second half. I think he was priced well on one of the sites as well, but I didn't realize he'd be playing edge back row off the bench. Kenny Bromwich moved into middle, one to look out for this week. But sorry, I was saying that we were all chatting on the Discord how many of the Roosters were priced really, really well on Top Sport. Not sure what was going on at Top Sport, but there's a lot of good value opportunities on the Roosters. Maybe they knew something we didn't, because obviously the Dolphins ended up playing really well. And Butcher, Keary, was Radley, and maybe one other player for the Roosters was really good odds on Toppy, and none of them ended up scoring. So well done to Toppy, I guess, in the end. But just another reason to make sure you're on our Discord and following us on socials when these sort of like last minute opportunities come up, or in the hour before team lists, we pick up that obviously Lemuelu's on the bench. Good odds, first try scorer, second half. We know he's now going to be playing edge, most likely off the bench. Just one to look out for. Tigers, Titans. I thought this would be a super high scoring game. I think most people did. We've got the exact score, but I think it ended up going unders. Unfortunately, none of the guys that we have here saluted. One that, so I tipped early in the week. Obviously, unfortunately, Bo Fermor did his ACL. Stimson was available at $67 on Neds. I'm going to putting that maybe out on socials, definitely on our Discord. I made a comment around the fact that there's a chance Sam McIntyre could play edge instead of Joe Stimson. So just be wary when you put on money on Stimson. But I didn't finish that sentence and say, hey, maybe put a few bucks on Sam McIntyre just in case he does play edge. I did do that myself. I hate to say this, and I want a little bit because McIntyre did score the first try in the second half. But again, as the season goes on, I'll become a lot more confident and go a lot more into detail about the types of match scenarios that could come up and good value plays that could come out of that. So follow us or get onto our Discord if you do love your NRL punting and try score stuff, especially. Looking at these players, there was a few because again, thought it'd be a high scoring game. Clark only got about 35 minutes. I still like this price. And I will most likely be including him in the Punters preview again if he's at a big number against Dragons. Stefano, he did look good. He played 50 minutes, made a couple of errors, but that's all right. Game one of the season. The Tigers overall weren't great. So if we see him at a nice price, he's got a great try scoring record. I think he had 6 games in 2021 out of about 18 or 20 where he scored a try. So if he's at big odds, we'll definitely like him again. Brooks did not the best game stats wise, but it did look likely early in the game. And Jolliffe was mainly purely for the price. So let's get into it, guys. I'm going to start. I need to just clean up the spreadsheet, but I will share it after that. I'm going to start listing all the players that I've written down in the Punters preview article or in our Discord. I'm going to do a review of this every week. As you can see here, there was roughly 40 plays. Lockie Fitz got up anytime try scorer, so did Sione Katoa. They were both in the Punters preview article. And then from our Discord, Lachlan Ilias, 750. He again scored the first try. He's another one where I think he was 41 to score the first try, and I really liked it, but I didn't put that on the Discord either. So obviously I haven't written it in here. But yeah, him and Fitzgibbon were two that I put out for anytime try scorer. I actually really liked their first try scorer price. Hesitated because it was round one and they both got up. So as the season goes on, I'll be following the hunches a lot more. And obviously, yeah, look out for this list being updated. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this. So on our Discord, as I said, before the Roosters game, there was quite a few things happening with Top Sport, which we did mention. The big one, though, was Hutchison coming into play centre for the Roosters, Corey Allen being benched. This was made official an hour before the game, as it is with every NRL game. So a big reason to jump on our Discord and follow us on Twitter, especially. This was amazing. So essentially, teams came out an hour before, saw the news that he's playing centre, quickly went out on our odds comparison tool to see where he was the best odds, saw it was Tab, went on Tab. Literally in the bet slip, they updated the odds for a couple of different bets and unfortunately wasn't able to get on the best price. One that I was able to get on for was for Hutchison to score the first, second, or third try at $17 odds. So I know it's not exactly the same, but it's similar to if the first try scorer bet was $51, for example, which is ridiculous for a starting center in what we thought would be a massacre against the Dolphins. So got on that, posted that on the Discord, I think maybe on the Tripod Facebook group and socials as well, I don't remember. But anyways, he scored the third try of the game at right center. I think it was a nice Sam Walker pass to put him through, but that was awesome. That was really nice to get. Obviously, like the Fitzgibbon and Ilias picks were good to get a couple of $6 and $7 anytime try scorer picks early in the season in round one. But the Hutchison one, a late find, putting it on Discord, getting on so at $17 odds was beautiful. Really nice start to the season. I forgot why I was so happy about round one. Him and Hutchison was one that I definitely put out there. Unfortunately, McIntyre wasn't. but that was $51 odds. We'll have a lot more of those throughout the season. That's it, guys, for the recap of round one. Let's get into round two. Thought we'd very quickly, the structure that I might follow is just very quickly go through the key team changes. I've also done a fantasy and super coach recap video, which you find on our Linktree. If you do like your fantasy and super coach, feel free to check that out, where I go a lot deeper into the teams for round two, expected minutes, forward pack rotations, and all the rest of it. But here we're just going to do a really, really quick recap of each team, and then go into the odds comparison tool, which I actually haven't done myself in detail. So that'll be good fun to go through and see what's value for round two. Panthers at home against the Rabbitohs. Panthers have lost 2 games at home now, the World Cup Challenge and round one against the Broncos at home 13-12. They come up against a Rabbitohs team. No rain expected for tonight, Thursday night in Sydney at 8 o'clock. So this should be a really, really good game. Unfortunately, the Rabbitohs are missing Jai Arrow from their second row, and Tavita Totola, who was concussed in the first minute last week against the Sharks. Whereas the Panthers are missing Scott Sorensen from the bench, and they've got Eisenhuth in there. There is chat around Latrell Mitchell's knee. He has done some damage to the PCL, but he hasn't gone for scans even apparently, so he should play. But obviously, watch out for that last minute, an hour before the game starts. Eels and Sharks. Lumi gets replaced by Sean Russell. He's back on the Eels for the he's back on the wing for the Eels. Wade Graham with his high tackle, he's out for 4 weeks now. Jack Williams, from memory, it was a concussion, but yeah, he's gone, I think, short term. Royce Hunt returns for the Sharks on the bench, and Connor Tracy comes in as the utility. So it actually might mean some more BHU minutes with Wade Graham and Jack Williams out. So fingers crossed for some good Braden ULA or Royce Hunt try scorer odds. Broncos and Cowboys, I think both teams pretty much unchanged. Cowboys are literally unchanged. Reece Walsh returns at fullback, with Cobbo moving back to the wing, and Arthur's out for the Broncos. This should be an absolute cracker at Suncorp. Game should be close to 50-50. Cowboys obviously had a much better season last year. The Broncos started last year on fire, and obviously they beat the Panthers away from home last week. So we think this game should be an absolute nail biter. Roosters lost to the Dolphins last week. Warriors won at home against the Knights. Roosters back home in Sydney. Warriors playing away. That should lead to a pretty big shift. Although the Roosters are now missing Matt Lodge for a few weeks, on top of Jared Warrior-Hargraves, Angus Crichton. I think there's 1 or 2 other forwards. There's Connor Watson. There's a lot of forwards missing for the Roosters. Brandon Smith's in a little bit of doubt with those busted ribs from the Felice Kafusi hits last week, and Radley got concussed pretty badly in the game. This game's less than a week after that, so it's going to be interesting to see if he does play as well. A little bit of doubt around that forward pack, whereas the Warriors pack is stacked. Ford, Niokore, Harris, Barnett, Finnell Blake, Walker, Afoa, Curran. That's a lot of experienced NRL players, but B, a lot of guys that can play multiple positions. So it's almost like the Warriors have a pretty clear advantage in the forward pack just because of their depth. Whereas you can see here, you got May, White, Hutchison, Turpin, Fletcher Baker, and Egan Butcher. It's a lot of inexperienced players in the Roosters forward pack. Although you've got Teddy, Manu, Kiri, and Walker, and you don't even have to look at the Warriors back line to realize that the Roosters are much stronger there. It should be a really interesting game. A lot of super coach players and fantasy players are going to help. Hope so that Teddy does well. They've probably got him as VC or captain. Dolphins and Raiders. The Dolphins surprised the Roosters obviously last week. They're now playing at their actual home ground in Redcliffe. The Raiders are missing Savage. They're missing Rapana. They're missing Josh Papali. They did put up a really good fight against the Cowboys to make it 18-all, and then unfortunately lost 19-18 in the end. But this is so hard to call. The Dolphins shocked everyone by winning against the Roosters. The Raiders surprised a lot of pundits by matching it against the Cowboys. But now they've got to go back to Queensland, and the Dolphins are playing their first game at Redcliffe, and they showed to obviously have a really nice. This is one of those games where, again, kind of like this game where the Warriors pack is quite deep, whereas the Roosters have that sort of top end class. of your Teddy, Sawali, Manu, Kieran Walker. This game's kind of similar in a way where the Dolphins sort of like 1-17. It's really hard to say that they've got a star. Tabio Fido obviously has speed, but still inconsistent and sort of like really early in his NRL career. Whereas the Raiders have that top end talent of like Whiten, Tapine, Hudson Young played really well last season. Fogarty made a massive impact on their team halfway through last season. So if you're one of those people that believes in sort of like top end talent, I think the Raiders minus 3.5 would be a really good play if you're choosing to punt on the line. Whereas the Dolphins just have like a really nice sort of evenly balanced team and coming off the high of last week. So that'll be interesting. From a try scorer point of view, Levi scored the first try in the last week of preseason at 81s. Tapine was priced really well at 81s last week, so I'll look out for the price for him. CHN was playing edge for a part of the game, if not all the game last week, against I forgot who the Raiders played, Cowboys. So if he's good odds, he could be a juicy one as well. And Starling ended up scoring, I think, the first try of the second half last week at $51 odds. And Gula scored a try just before halftime. So a few of the guys to look out there in the Raiders team. And then Lemuelu scored the first try in the second half, playing on the left edge when Kenny Bromwich moved to the middle. So watch out for him as well. We'll move on to the next game. Storm and Bulldogs. Storm won a tight game away from home in Sydney against the Eels. The Dogs were atrocious against Manly and now have to go into state to play the Storm. Only thing I will say, obviously Munster out with that compound finger injury for the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks, most likely. This game is going to be interesting. The Dogs will be super motivated. Another week with experience with this new sort of spine with Marnie in there, and also on the edge with Kickow. Really hard to comment on this game, but from a try scorer point of view, Nas was really a really good price last week. I'd watch out for him. He might get some time on the edge. He'll definitely have to play big minutes in the middle. When you look at the bench of Garlic, McDonald, Penne, and Grant, no one there should be playing more than 30 minutes. A couple of these guys probably only get like 15 minutes. So Nas will get around that 50 minutes. And up against a pretty weak Dogs middle with King, Sutton, and Brown, decent NRL players, and like a rookie bench. Second last game around, Tigers Knights. Having a look at these teams, Fanua Bolle misses out and Adam Elliott for the Warriors. Their pack was weird. Like Offa and Galway played slightly less minutes than usual. Twile played big minutes. I think it was because Coruscant and Offa and Galway apparently had limited preseasons, I think is what Tim Sheen said, but expect them to be much better second time around. Even in the game, you saw them sort of improve as the game went on, and Coruscant sort of got into the game last week. Dwayne, he was excellent. Laurie was pretty good. Nofaluma was decent last week as well. So up against the Knights team, where obviously they're playing away from home, they really do depend on Kalen Ponga. Again, these two teams are unlikely to make the top 8 this year, given what we saw in round 1. But both teams will want to sort of get up for this game and get a win. It'll be really disappointing for the Tigers if they play 2 at Leichhardt in a row and haven't gotten the win. Quickly, try scorer point of view, I'm just trying to look. Safidi brothers, they were pretty juicy odds against the Warriors last week. If we see them above $81, I'll be keen on them, and look out for Lockie Fitz, given he obviously got up first at any time try scorer, but he also scored the first try, and that sort of lethal left with Kalen Ponga is one to watch out for this season. The last game, the Dragons play their first game of 2022. Mbai named at hooker, Bird at lock. That might change with de Berlin coming in the next week or two, so just one to watch out for. Try scorer point of view, Jaden Sewer is one that I remember seeing that I really liked, at $41 odds to score the first try. On the right edge, next to Benny Hunt, likely up against David Fafita and Kieran Foran, or if Foran's out, that could be Jaden Campbell that he's running at. But also, not Jaden Campbell, he'll likely go to fullback, but Brimson. So Brimson and Fafita, neither would have trained on the left edge in preseason, because that would have been Foran and Fermor. And now within literally like after round 1, if Fermor's unfortunately done his ACL, Foran could be ruled out because of that knee injury. And then you've got like Brimson and Fafita defending next to each other without a preseason training together at all. And then you've got Ben Hunt and Jaden Stewart, who are really like as an attacking duo on the Dragons, right? That could be one to look out for. Aside from that, try scorer wise, I think one to look out for, obviously Sam McIntyre got up first. Sorry, Sam McIntyre scored the first try of the second half As I said, unfortunately, I didn't put it out on Discord, but he was $51 odds. It was a bit of a fluke trade, to be honest. Unless that price is really high, I wouldn't look at him at $51 again. I only got on that because I thought he might take over for Stimson on the edge, but I think Stimson played 80 on the right edge for the Titans. But yeah, a couple of things to look out for there. Dragons, aside from Sewer, can't get excited about anyone. I don't think. Cool. That's it for the team's recap for round 2. Now let's get on to the fun stuff and check out the prices for the odds comparison tool. I'll go game by game for now. As I said, I did a pretty detailed recap of what model and historical and market value and all that kind of stuff means in last week's video. And we've got an explainer article, so I won't talk about that in detail this time around. I'll literally do like a 30-second explanation. But basically, if you look at that, Isaac Thompson playing on the wing against the Panthers, our model thinks he should be priced at around $2.35 to score a try. If you look at his career striker, he hasn't played that many games, so this isn't a great example. But if you look at his career, look at how many times he has scored a try, and then compared to how many games. If you made that into betting odds, it'd be $1.50. Our model's probability converted to betting odds $2.35, and we found him for $3.10 on Bet365. And market value means that the best odds compared to the second best odds of 277 means it's 12% better. So if you go by model value, you realize that, look, Isaac Thompson's the best player here. Historical value, again, he's probably not one to look at, but let's just say like a Cam Murray. If you convert his strike rate to betting odds, $4.88, and we found him for $7.25. That's really good value compared to his strike rate throughout his career. Whereas market value, you see Jamin Salmon is $8.50 on Neds, which is way better than the $5.10, which is the second best. Therefore, he shows up as the best market value. That's a really quick explanation, but let's get into it, guys. So Panthers, Rabbitohs, Isaac Thompson showing up as really good value here. I'd be really interested to see Alex Johnston. So yeah, this is really interesting. So obviously Alex Johnston, probably the best try scorer in the NRL in the last sort of 5 years or so. But he's at $2.10, and then their right winger and Ilias went to the right side with Koloamatangi and also himself a couple of times, scored tries. Interesting to note that he's $3.10. So I think that's a potentially interesting one to look at. But it's up against the Panthers, and I think the Panthers, I personally think the Panthers will do well, and the Rabbitohs won't score that many tries, and I don't see them having that much success on their right again. So I'll have a think, but I don't think I'll end up putting that in the I'll see in the Punter's preview article. Aside from that, Cam Graham, 425. He scored 2 tries, I think it was last week. So yeah, one that I'll definitely look at. Historical value wise, Ilias got up first last week. Again, good odds. I'll have a think about him. Nothing amazing there. Salmon did play, I think, about 30 minutes on the edge there for Ghana. If we think he's going to get like 30 plus minutes on an edge, that 850 might actually be juicy. And I'll have a look at what he is for FTS second half potentially as well. Outside of that, nothing much that I love. Let's have a look at first try scorer. Leota at $81. Yep, definitely like that. Isaac Thompson at 15. Nope. And Koloamatangi at $41. Really like that as well. Ilias was playing really well on the right. Koloamatangi, sorry, 3 green lights. Our model likes it. It's better according to his career strike rate, and it's way better than the second best site. 3 green lights. I'll most likely have this in the Punter's preview article, and probably Leota as well. Historical strike rates. A lot of these guys, to be honest, Ilias hasn't played many games. You don't want to give much weighting to he scored the first try 1 in every 7 games that he's played. Cody Walker, nope, nothing that I love here. And then market value, Jed Cartwright. If you think he's going to get some time on the edge for the Rabbits replacing Cheek Cam, that 101 looks really good. Aside from that, Salmon, I probably have a look at that FTS second half Salmon as well at 51s in case he gets some time again on the edge for Ghana, which he did last week. Sonny Luke 34, nope. Mawale, I do like him. FTS second half potentially, probably for a small stake against the Panthers. And that's probably it. So look, what I've realized with the video and the audio that this gets out to is I probably won't commit on plays. I'll make some commentary on what might be some good plays. And I'll obviously say them out loud and say what site they're on and stuff just to make it really clear. But then when I write up the article, I'll make some decisions on sort of what makes the best value plays for the weekend. But just to recap real quick, anytime try scorer wise, Isaac Thompson, $3.10 on Bet365 looks pretty good. And then Salmon and Cartwright are $8.50 and $11.50 on Neds. They should both get some time on the edge for Garner and Cheekham. So I think they're decent value players, but I'll personally probably prefer them at $101 and $51 on Neds, Cartwright and Salmon. First try scorer, second half, if you can find that price there. And I'll double check that and I'll get it into the article if it's still available by Thursday Arvo. And then model value wise, I really like Kolomatangi. That's probably my favorite play of the game. $41 on Neds and Ladbrokes, Kolomatangi to score the first try against the Panthers, and Leota at $81 on tab. Really like that play as well. Second game, let's get into it. So Sione Katoa, $2.70 on Neds. Way better. So way better than his model and historical price would be. They both would have him at around $1.90. Most sites have him sort of like around that 220 to 240. Look, they are missing Nico Hines, but Trindle did a really good job in attack last week. And Katoa scored a try, should have had another. And they're playing they're playing Para this week compared to the Rabbitohs. I think Para is not as good of a team as the Rabbitohs this year. So yeah, long story short, really like Sione Katoa. Our model, it's our model's favorite pick of the round, I think, from memory for anytime try scorers. So don't want to overthink it. I definitely think that's one to get on. One that is highlighted in historical value that I really, wow, okay. Uele at 11s on Sportsbet. I do like that. And the other one I really like is $5.30 on Sportsbet for Nakora. Really like those both for anytime try scorer markets. Market value wise, nothing really here. And for first try scorer for Eel Sharks, Katoa 13s on Neds. I'd rather just go bigger on the ATS play. I think FTS at 13s is decent. Maybe for a small stake, but I just really like him anytime try scorer instead. Rudolph at 101 on tab. I also like that. Trindle did score a try and he looked good last week. It looks decent at $41 odds. Historical value wise, Uele at $61. I do really like that. I've got a feeling he might be benched for Hunt. They did sort of like switch those guys quite a bit late, an hour before the game last season. So I do like the 61 for ULA, but might be better to get on anytime try scorer. I kind of almost hope that he is off the bench and coming up against Para's weaker bench forwards. Aside from that, nope, that's probably it there. And market value for try scorer markets. Royce Hunt at $81. I really, really like that. He's got a really good try scoring strike rate. He's got the perfect game for a try scoring middle forward. I will definitely be having a look at the $81 for Royce Hunt, either to score the first try or the first try second half. It's really tricky because you obviously won't know an hour before teams, and that price will probably come in by final teams an hour before the game. But definitely have a look at that market for Royce Hunt. And that's probably it for that game. Going into the second Friday night game, Broncos Cowboys. Model wise, nothing that is in green lights, and I don't think I love any of those guys. Historical value, Tamalolo at 13. It does look good at first look, but I think last sort of like couple of seasons, playing a few less minutes, they've got a more well-rounded pack. I think I'd prefer to get on him for sort of first and last try kind of markets instead. Aside from that, Nimi at 12s, yep, like that. That's on Sportsbet. And also look out for first try scorer second half for him. He did that for a couple of times, I think last year. He's generally quite good. And then market value wise, yeah, Tamalolo Neem obviously highlighted here again. I don't think there's anyone else that I really like here. It's definitely a couple of guys we'll look at in first try scorer markets that'll pop up. So model wise, I know Townsend looks good at 67s. I actually wouldn't mind him as a small play. It's LTS, last try score at 67s, but not first try scorer, and that's on tab. Carrigan, Tamalolo, both at 101s, first try scorer. It's on tab. I think they're both, I don't know about Carrigan actually, but Tamalolo, I'd be getting on first, second, and last try scorer individual, 3 separate bets, all at 101s for a small stake. I really like that play. Much better than him anytime try scorer, I think, because he's most likely going to be on for the first, let's say, 25 minutes. He might be off for the third try, but you think he's almost definitely on for the first and second. And then you think he obviously is on at the end of the game in a big game for the Cowboys. So I like that way. I like that way of playing Tamalolo. Aside from that, historical value, Payne Haas at 81s, same as what I just said with Tamalolo. Get on tab 81s, first, second, and last try, where he should be on the field for those. Aside from that, Reece Robson at 38. I actually do like that. That's $38 on tab. On Top Sport for Reece Robson. $38 first try scorer. Anything above 34, and I think it's decent. I should just realize Jason Tamalolo has got 3 green lights for $101 on tab, so I'll definitely be putting that in the Punters preview. Market value, Peaks. I really like him as first try scorer second half. He'll be on. He'll come on for Kevin Walters' son, Billy Walters. Neem at 71. I think he'll be around 61 for first try scorer second half. I like that, and maybe a small dabble on ATS for him as well at good odds. And that is it for that game. Coming on to the first game for Saturday. Roosters Warriors, anytime try scorer. Here we go. Manu at 250. First game back for him up against the Warriors, where he obviously is a Kiwi, plays alongside a lot of the boys. He just did in the World Cup. I actually do like that. Our model thinks he should be closer to $2, obviously because he had a standout season last year and has obviously been really good try scoring form from then. So Joey Manu, $2.50 on tab, anytime try scorer. I do like that. Aside from that, historical value wise, a lot of these guys, Walker used to be a back. Curran's played a bit of second row. Barnett's played a lot of second row. Johnson used to be a great try scorer early in his career. Historical, remember, only looks at their career stats and doesn't try to predict forward, whereas model obviously tries to predict forward and knows what position they're in and who they're playing. So historical value is just like a really quick way. It's really easy to sort of siphon out the guys that are irrelevant. No one really stands out there, to be honest. And then market value, Bunty was $21 odds. You can see he's way better, almost double. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, yep. So he's almost double the $12 on Top Sport. That's why he's really high in the market value. Column over here, don't love it, to be honest. Like, he did score a try or two last. Or you know what? I know how to play Bunty for. I'll get to that in a second. But aside from that, nothing really stands out in ATS. Model value, first try scorer, there's 3 that pop up, Collins and Baker at $81 odds, both on tab. Collins are also available on Neds. I think the Roosters pack is really going to have to step up, and I don't think this is the way that I'd like to get on for middle forwards this game. Aside from that, TMM, Tamari Martin, 3 green lights at $67 odds. I don't mind him. He's not a work rate guy, but he's got 3 green lights. He's way better price on tab than other sites. I think you could potentially look at him as an anytime try scorer play or a very small dabble on him. So the first, second, or third try on tab at 23s, I reckon he'd be. That kind of play is good. For backs, for sort of anyone from 1 to 7 in the backs, I prefer to get on them anytime try scorer, first, second, or third, that kind of stuff, rather than just FTS, because you know that they'll be playing the most of the game, unless they get injured. But Tamari Martin definitely wants that's really good value on tab. You just need to figure out the best way to get on him. Historical value wise, Fanua Blake at $101 against an understrength Roosters pack. That does look pretty good. Curran, he only played like 15-20 minutes last week, I think it was. He's coming back from injury. I do like that 67s, but I'll probably hold off just for this week. Aside from that, Radley, $51 on tab. If he is playing, that could be an interesting one. That's probably it. Market value, you can see, TMM 67s pointed out there, 3 green lights. Who else do we have? Which nope, no one else really that stands out. When I said I know the way to play, way to play a follower. So you can see here the guys that are priced 101. Bunty Foa will almost definitely come off the bench for the Warriors. That Roosters pack is already obliterated with injuries, and the guys on the bench are all rookies. So I think Bunty Foa, first try scorer, second half at $101 on tab is the way to go. You can see there that he's sort of priced around 70 to 80 on most sites. 101 is slightly, obviously it is good value if you compare it to other sides. But I think the main thing is the matchup up against a weak pack. He's obviously been a really good forward for the Warriors the last few years, and they've got some depth in that pack. So it means that when he comes on, it's not he does get to have that impact, but he's actually got some decent guys around him up against a weak pack. So I think that's the way to play it. We'll move on to the second game for Super Saturday. Raiders and Dolphins. Anytime try scorer. I don't love anyone there in the model value. Historical value, J. Brom used to be a good try scorer earlier on in his career. I don't love that. And then market value. Ooh. So Tom Gilbert could be an interesting one at 13. It's just that we know he's not going to play edge, unfortunately, with Kenny Bromwich moving to the middle so that Connolly Lemuelu could play edge last week. So if he's going to just be a middle forward, $13 does look good because it's sort of the next best you can find from is 825 across these 5 bookies. But he's a middle forward. He's going to get sort of 45, 50 minutes. I think it's okay, but not amazing. Tommy Gilbert. Wallace at 1050. He only got about 30, 35 minutes last week. So I don't know if I can commit to any of these guys as anytime try scorer plays, but I think we'll find some good value in here. So Levi, first try scorer, $81 on tab. That got up last week of preseason. Definitely be having a small dabble on that. You can see that every other site has him for $51 or less. Our model has him at 45. So if he's sort of being priced at sort of that 45 to 50, historically, Hilker's I think scored the first try in games at around like a 1 in 60 kind of strike rate. And then Levi's at $81. Like, he's just going to sort of play the first 25 minutes or so, go hard. And I think the Raiders will really want to sort of start well this week, given how they played last week, and knowing that if they don't, the Dolphins could get on a run again. So I really like our model's favorite pick for this game, first try scorer. I really like it as well. Danny Levi, $81 on tab. Tommy Gilbert at 101. Now, see that I like. That's a really nice price. First, second, and last try scorer all at that $101 price for Tom Gilbert on tab. I really like that. Nothing else really aside from that. FTS, according to historical value, CHN, I think he played a bit of edge last week. $34 is an interesting price where it's not a good price if he's playing middle, but it is a good price if he's playing edge. I might have a think about that if we definitely get on that. And see, Whitehead's interesting because our model knows that Whitehead has been named on the edge. So it's got 3 green lights for him because his career strike rate and our model both have him priced around 24. Every other site has him at 26 or less. And then Top Sport has him at 34. I reckon Top Sport, they're probably the sharpest bookie here. They probably know that CHN played edge and Whitehead played middle, and I think they've priced it accordingly. So our model obviously has to listen to what we feed in, saying that Whitehead will be playing edge. But I think just really look out. I'm gonna actually watch last game's footage again, KO mini highlights maybe, to see who actually played edge and how long they played for, because Whitehead is $34 on Top Sport. CHN, Harawira and Ira is $34 on tab. One of them is really good value for first try score at $34 odds. And I'll do a bit of research to figure out which one of them that is. Market value, it helps us outline Levi again at 81. It helps us outline Tommy Gilbert, 3 green lights at 101s. Widen at 26. It is way better than other sites, although I don't think it's amazing value. Nope, I think that's pretty much it. Cool. Last game for Super Saturday, Storm Bulldogs. Yeah, ignore that. Jaden Tanner, that's just a case of him being a rookie, so our model not pricing him correctly, unfortunately. He's a really big price, but he's a rookie forward that'll get that sort of 10, 15 minutes. Alamod is the same. He's a rookie, not being priced correctly. Moving on to historical value, or 1050 for Manu Brown. I think this is one of those, the phrase, the hill that I'm going to die on. I think for Manu Brown is my guy. He's going to get big minutes again in the middle of the field because the Dogs just don't have anyone else. I know they're playing. I know they looked bad last week. I know they're playing away to the Storm, but I'm probably going to have a small dabble on him anytime try score at 1050. Aside from that, no one really that I love here. Market value. Farmano Brown highlighted here. He's got a ridiculous try scoring strike rate in his career because ever since he came back last year, he just keeps scoring tries. Even if he's not getting that many minutes of this year, he will be getting minutes. He will be at, in the middle of the field at lock instead of hooker. But I still really like that price. I don't think there's anyone else here really that stands out for anytime try scorer markets. For first try scorer, we've got King, Welsh, and Sutton. King, Welsh, and Sutton, all priced at $101. Honestly, I don't think I love any of them. Like, they're not noted try scorers. If I had to pick one, I'd probably go one of King or Welsh at $101 just because of Harry Grant. Like, you'd think the Storm start better here at home with the Dogs not playing very well last week. And also, I think Harry Grant is really good at playing his or putting his middle forwards through a hole in the middle of the field. Probably go King. Welsh is just coming back off a long-term injury. He's probably not as dynamic early in the season. King isn't dynamic either, but I think if I had to dabble on one of them first try scorer at 101, it would be Josh King on 101 on tab. Outside of that, RFM at $51 on Sportsbet. Our model has it priced around 40. Most other sites have him around 40, and we're getting 51s. If you think the Dogs are going to compete, RFM for Talamarina at $51 on Sportsbet is definitely a decent value play. Kick out at $26 on Neds. I'll probably have a crack at this. Like, he scored in the first minute of the last round 2 of preseason games. Again, like left edge with Burden. I know they played crap last week, but if they can switch on sort of for this game nice and early, kick out, like, if you convert his strike rate to score the first try, I know it was for the dominant Panthers, but if you convert that to betting odds, it was around $14. Most sites do have him in the early 20s, and I do actually like the $26. Again, small play given how bad the Dogs were last week, and they're playing away from home against the Storm. Aside from that, no one really stands out. Market value, let's go Penne, Tanner. Penne playing for the Storm, $101 on tab, 100% will be getting on that. You can see it's double. He's a similar style of player to Nas, just not as good and not as experienced. Absolutely love his running style. $101 first try score, second half on tab. I'll definitely be getting a little bit of money on that. Think it's a really good value play. Aside from that, market value, nope, no one else really stands out. Let's move to the second last game of the round. First game of Sunday, the 4 p.m. Channel 9 game. Anytime try scorer, model value, no one really stands out. Historical, Stefano at 1050. He got 50 minutes last week. Even if you get sort of like 40, 45 minutes this week, because Coruscant and Offengal will play a little bit more. If he gets 40 plus minutes against the Knights pack that is significantly under strength, including now Adam Elliott, who's already out, $10.50 looks like a great price on Sportsbet or Tukamanu anytime try scorer. Outside of that, Lockie Fitz is $4.90. He obviously got up first at $6 odds next to KP last week. I think I'll stay away from Fitz this week, but just one to look out for. Market value highlights how good it took Manu is on Sportsbet compared to other sites. He's like more than 1.5 times the price of the 650 on tab. Elsewhere, outside of that, Hastings at 875 on Neds. I do like that, but I think there's potentially a better way to play that. Like, it's a good value play, but it's not amazing. He's up against his old team though. He's playing for Newcastle now. He used to play for the Tigers obviously last season. So that 875 might actually make my Punter's preview article. I'll have to sort of sit down and have a think. But if I look at first try scorer markets now, or look at model value, Hastings, $67 first try scorer. I think FTS second half should also be 67. I absolutely love that big juicy price up against his old team. I think we'll have Smaller stake on the ATS, but definitely I think this will make the value plays article, punch preview article, sorry. Outside of that, Jacob Safidi at 101 to score the first try, 3 green lights. Absolutely love that. He would have started in like less than half of his NRL games, which I reckon would be. Oh, I reckon he's actually started like that. You know what? I'm just guessing now, but I think he's scored the first try of the game already in his career. He's generally like a good try scorer when he gets minutes, and this year he's going to have to get minutes because they have lost Clemmer to the Tigers. As you can see, he's now playing for the Tigers, and they've lost Adam Elliott due to injury. So really like Jacob Saifidi, $101 on tab. I'd be getting on that first, second, and last try scorer, separate bets, all at $101 on tab. Aside from that, Brooks, $41 on tab. I'd be getting on that. What's an interesting one? I'll have to think of how to get on that, but I do like the $41 on tab for Brooks. Again, historical value helps highlight how good Jacob is at 101. $51 for Tucumano is a bit short. I think that ATS is probably better value. Market value wise, nothing really stands out. If we look at some of the highest numbers available for this game, I think it's annoying that they've gone 101 for Jacob, but bought Daniel in significantly. So yeah, if Daniel gets out to $81 or above, I'll definitely be putting him in the sort of Punter preview as well. So we on to the last game. Anytime try scorer, Dragons and Titans. Absolutely anything could happen in this game. Model value wise for ATS, nothing really stands out for me here. Historical value wise, nope, nothing really stands out here either. Market value wise, no, happy to skip that. Actually, Jaden Campbell 420 on Nez. If news breaks about Kieran Foran officially being ruled out before Sunday, they won't react to the price straight away. So look out for our Discord and our social media, especially Twitter, to see if Jaden Campbell ends up starting fullback. $4.20 would be an excellent price. As a bit of a guide, you can look at what Brimson is slated as. So Brimson's $3.25 at best, and model has him pretty much exactly the same price. So if you look at $3.25 as a bit of a guide as to what Jaden Campbell should be at fullback, and then you realize, oh wow, I'm getting $4.20 on Neds. If that's confirmed, Foran out, Brimson to fullback, Campbell to Brimson to 5/8, Campbell to fullback, that $4.20 becomes an excellent value play. First try scorer, model value, $467, dodgy knee, late on his career. I don't actually love that, even though our model definitely does. You can see he's like double the price of every other bookie and almost double the price of what our model also has in priced him at. I'm still happy to stay away if that gets up. Well done to our model and one I'm happy to miss. Laurie, $126, Jolliffe at 101. They just Jolliffe, I think, is all right at 101, and I'll probably figure out the best way to get on that on tab. Ones that I like, Molo. Yep, happy to have a look at him at $101 a tab. He's a really strong ball runner. Used to play for the Cowboys, and obviously he's playing for the Dragons now. I think Molo and Jolliffe, 3 green lights. I'm happy to have a look at them and the best way to play that on tab. That's Frankie Molo, by the way. Who else do we have here? Nope. Historical value wise, again, Ned's $19, Jaden Campbell. That'd be a great play if he's confirmed starting fullback with Foran out. Aside from that, Benny Hunt 26. Nope, happy to stay away there. Market value. Hello. Sam McIntyre, $81, first try scorer, second half. As I just said, I got a little bit on that for first try scorer, second half at 51. So he might play some edge. Got lucky and he did score the first try, even though it was in the middle. It was a crap try. I think he caught the ball off a bomb and dived over or something like that in the middle of the field. But anyways, $81 actually is a good price, given that he could still play a little bit of edge if they bench Fafita for a little bit, or more likely they bench Stimson for a little bit. Could get some edge time, will definitely get some middle time around sort of like the late in the first half, early second half. So McIntyre, $81. I do like, and probably out of a little bit of loyalty because he got up for us, or got up for me, sorry, last week. But yeah, definitely a small stake if you go that. Sully, who else do we have there? Nope, I think that's it. Oh, that's right. Aaron Clark, FTS second half on tab, $81. Definitely get on. He only played 35 minutes last week, but he was excellent towards the end of last season. Him and Tino were really good into last season, and both were a little bit quiet last week. But I think up against Dragons, round 2 now, I think there's no excuses, and you kind of just have to get on at that price for Aaron Clark, who looked really good end of last year. But I think that's it, guys. So I think just to recap, as I said, like I'll be doing this episode where it'll be stripped out onto a video for YouTube, audio for Anchor, where you can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the rest of it. I think the best way, like this is round 2, we're just getting to the rhythm. I'm going to be getting this stuff out on a Thursday over, but I reckon by next week it should be sort of Wednesday evening / Thursday lunchtime. Best way to make sure that you don't miss out on any of these try score value plays is to join our free Discord or follow us on Twitter. The thing with these try scorer value picks is that I can sort of talk about this stuff on a Wednesday or a Thursday morning, but obviously the games go all the way up until Sunday. And a lot of this stuff, it's because a team changes 24 hours out or an hour before the game, which is final teams. So I think you can definitely get on some of our value picks, from the article or from the sort of the video and the audio episodes that we put out. But if you're sort of really switched on and really keen to sort of get involved and sort of stick around for updates, an hour and day before every single game, that's where the real value usually is, because of change of position and stuff. But as always, really appreciate if you sort of like and follow and all that stuff on YouTube and Spotify and everything. But most importantly, get onto our Twitter and our free Discord, get involved, because obviously there's only one of me, and I do like putting this information out. But the point of the odds comparison tool and our Discord and our community is that everything's free to use. And the more of us that are sort of getting involved and helping each other, it obviously helps find out the late mail and the best prices. But yeah, check out our website, check out our Linktree, get involved, and thanks for listening. And I'll catch you before round 3. Best of luck.